The car is mostly tuned. The idle, the cruise, the gears 3 and above are all tuned. We did not get to first and second gear pulls to check AFRs on those, because while I was in the middle of one of my third gear pulls, my crank pulley fell off, and I'll just chalk that up to my own mistake, but whatever. The car's fine, the motor's fine. All I'm going to do now is pin the crank, so that way that the crank pulley doesn't rotate on the crank anymore. And then I'm going to really torque down that crank pulley bolt. I bought a torque wrench that goes up to 250 foot-pounds. I know that the final turn on the crank bolt is 140 degrees, which I believe works out to about 300 foot-pounds. So I still won't be able to meet that mark. I'll be able to get a lot closer with that. But anyway, otherwise the car pulls hard. It pulls so hard. It sounds amazing. No knock, no weird things going on, no misfires or anything. The injector cycle duty is only at 60% in a third and fourth gear pull, wide open throttle. So that's amazing. So I still have plenty of injector left. As far as the fuel pump, I don't have a sensor on here to monitor fuel pressure, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but the tuner, he says everything looks great. As far as he can tell, the pump is working great. I added a 100mm MAF just to make it easier for the tuner. The SD tune, he can tune SD and he likes to tune SD, but realistically for my setup I don't need an SD tune. The MAF will just make everything easier. What I have to do now is take the belt off, clean all the pulleys, clean the belt, because when the crank fell off, the crank pulley fell off, oil came out obviously and got all over the place in there. So I had to clean all of those. Otherwise, she's running good. For some reason, he couldn't get the 3-bar. He couldn't get the computer to accept the 3-bar. I'm not sure why. He's not sure either. He's going to have to look that up and find out why the GTO computer won't accept the 3-bar. I believe the voltage of the 3-bar. But I have an extension harness on it. Runs all the way over here, and obviously it's not plugged in. I still have the I actually had to go back to a 1-bar because that 2-bar that I bought didn't work at all, so we had to go back to the GM 1-bar. The coolant for the blower for the brick, I had to burp that several times because when we tried to tune it originally, it got up to 200 degrees IAT, which isn't good. But since I really focused on burping the cooler or the coolant, the IATs never got over 140, and that was a wide open throttle pull, so that's really good. But it's probably going to be about 2 weeks because the tuner's going out of town, and then he's going to be really busy all the week that he comes back, because he's going to have a lot of work to catch up on. But so it's going to be about 2 weeks before we can finish the tune. Really, there's not much left. He just needs to see what a wide open throttle first and second gear pull is going to look like, so that way he can adjust any of the fuelings in that. He also needs to delete a couple codes. One, for example, is for the evap, and actually I think that's it, just the evap. And then also he says that there's some more timing he can throw at it. I believe he says there's only 9 degrees of timing in it right now, and he says a similar build he was able to get, I believe, up to 26. Now don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what he said, is that a similar build he was able to throw 26 degrees of timing into it, and right now I'm only at 9. So there's still a lot of room to grow, and this thing pulls so hard. But as you can see, it rubs the hood a little bit. Guys, I'm so excited. It runs hard, other than the stupid crank pulley. Once I get that taken care of, then I'll be able to drive it around no problem. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe.